Let's talk about what is, without a doubt, the most complex and fascinating subject on the planet, you. Today we're going to take a journey into the science of ourselves, and we're using the incredible field of psychology as our guide.
So let's just start with a question that, we've all asked ourselves at some point, right? Ever wonder why you do the things you do? Why you feel a certain way? Or, why you just click with some people and not so much with others? It's the ultimate mystery, and today we're going to explore the answer.
Well, guess what? There's an entire field of science dedicated to answering exactly that. It's like having a map to explore our own inner worlds. And that science, of course, is psychology. All right, so let's start at the very beginning. What is it that actually makes you, well, you? This is our quick intro to the amazing world of psychology.
So what is psychology really? At its core, it's the scientific study of the mind and our behavior. And yeah, I really want to emphasize that word scientific. This isn't just about vague feelings. It's about real observation, experimentation, digging into the how and the why behind pretty much every single thought and action we have.
And this stuff really matters because psychology isn't some abstract thing you just read about in the textbook. It's super practical. It helps us make sense of that jumble of thoughts bouncing around on our own heads. It gives a name to our emotions, explains those invisible forces that pull us toward some people, and, this is the big one, it actually gives us tools to boost our own well-being.
Okay, so now that we've got the basics down, let's go on a tour. And we're headed to probably the most interesting place in the entire universe, your mind. Let's dive into that inner world. Okay, I want you to think of your mind like an iceberg. You know that little tip you can see sticking out of the water? Well, that's your conscious mind. It's what you're aware of right this second. But that giant hidden part underneath, that's your subconscious. And it is running everything in the background, from your oldest memories and learned skills right down to your gut reactions.
So how does that conscious part, the tip of the iceberg, actually work? Well, think of it this way. Your attention? It's like a spotlight, right? You shine it on whatever information you want to focus on. Your memory is like a massive filing cabinet where you store all that stuff. And a thought? Well, that's just the process of pulling out a file, shining that spotlight on it, and making sense of it all. Simple, right? But those are the absolute building blocks of every single thought you have.
And of course, our thoughts are almost never just pure logic, are they? They're all tangled up with our feelings. And that's where something called emotional intelligence, or EQ, comes into play. It's the super important skill of being able to understand, use, and manage your own emotions. It is a seriously powerful tool for just navigating, well, life. All right, so we've taken a peek into our inner world. Now, let's zoom out a bit and see how that inner world connects with everything outside of us. We're talking about personality and how we behave out there in the social world.
A really great way to start thinking about personality is with a simple question. Where do you get your energy from? And this isn't about being shy or outgoing. That's a common mix-up. An introvert, they recharge their social battery with some quiet alone time. An extrovert, on the other hand, recharges by being around people. It's all about where your energy flows.
But look, personality is way more than just that one thing. The most widely accepted scientific model for understanding it is called the Big Five. So let's do a quick run-through of these 5 key traits that kind of make up all of our unique personalities.
First up, we've got openness. This is all about your curiosity, your imagination. Just think about it for a sec. Are you the person who's always excited to try a new restaurant, or do you kind of stick to your old favorites? That right there is a little glimpse into your openness to experience.
Okay, next on the list is conscientiousness. This is basically your level of organization and discipline. Is your desk super tidy, or is it more of a creative chaos? Do you plan out every minute of your vacation, or are you more of a go-with-the-flow type? That's conscientiousness in action.
Number 3 is extroversion. Now, we already touched on this with the whole energy thing, but it's also about your general sociability and how assertive you are. How comfortable you feel in social situations, and whether you're the type to take charge or speak up.
Fourth, we've got agreeableness. This one reflects how compassionate and cooperative you tend to be. Picture this. Your friends are trying to pick a movie. Are you the one who says, yeah, whatever you guys want is cool? Or are you going to argue for your pick? That's a pretty good measure of your agreeableness.
And last but not least, number 5 is neuroticism. Now that word can sound a little intense, but it's really just about emotional stability. It's a way to measure our tendency to feel negative emotions like anxiety or worry, and just how sensitive we are to stress.
So these 5 traits together, they give us a really good picture of an individual. But here's the thing.
None of us exist in a vacuum, right? The power of the group is huge. Society shapes our behavior all the time through stuff like peer pressure and just our natural instinct to conform, to adjust what we're doing to fit in with everyone else.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of the theory, but how can we actually use any of this? Well, in this last section, let's get super practical and build a little toolkit you can use to apply psychology in your daily life.
And let's kick it off by tackling a classic. I mean, you've probably heard this a million times before. That question, is it actually true that we only use 10% of our brains?
The answer? It is a huge, resounding myth. And this is a perfect example of how psychology can help us bust these common myths. Brain scans show us clear as day that we use pretty much every single part of our brain every single day, even when we're just chilling out and resting.
So, since we're using our whole brain, it makes sense to talk about how to take care of it, right? So here are 3 simple, healthy habits for your mind. Step 1, understand your stressors. Just acknowledge what it is that triggers stress for you. Step 2, develop some coping mechanisms. Find healthy ways to deal with that pressure, whether it's exercise or just talking to a friend. And step 3, and this is so important, prioritize your mental health. Treat it with the exact same importance as your physical health.
Look, we've really only scratched the surface today, but what we've covered is the foundation. And all of this leads to the final and honestly, the most important question of all. Now that you've got this basic map to your own mind, what are you going to learn about yourself?